I got off the stage and this old dude comes up to me. He wasn't old, but 60-year-old guy. And he's like, Tai, that was a good talk. I didn't know who he was. He goes, but you forgot something. I was like, who's this fucking guy? But then when he talked, I was like, oh, I'm talking to an OG. He said, you forgot status.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Would you who gets more women? Jeff Bezos or Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
You saw that meme where they were looking.
Yep.
Status is fungible. Okay. It's a fungible. That means people think of NFTs, non-fungible, these kind of assets, but the ultimate, before there was fucking NFTs that you could trade, there was status.
Right.
There was, the man who had the most sons in history, Mubarak the Bloodthirsty, had between 700 and 900 sons. He didn't even fucking count his daughters back then. So I think it's in the 1300s in Morocco. This was a man of status. He sat on a throne of skulls. And you walked into Mubarak Bloodthirsty, but that was a fungible, probably, I don't know, if you do the math on 700 sons and you look at the distribution pattern from the 1300s, probably this dude's 30% of the, fathered 30% of modern day Morocco.
Damn.
But
like Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, yeah.
Yeah, Genghis Khan's probably 1% of the world, depends on what math you look at. But you need, so, going back to mentors, the game changers always are not what you learn, it's who you bump into. That's all who you bump into, man.
I agree with you on the status thing. We talked about this with Crowder earlier. I said if there's one amplifier that you would pick if you just wanted to strictly attract women, it would be status, because at some point, you could be handsome, right? You could have money, whatever, and some girls are going to gravitate towards that, but like status is like the one thing that, like, if you're famous, you look at a guy, like, I like to use Bad Bunny as an example, right?
Yeah.
If he wasn't famous, would he get as many women for being like, bisexual and stuff? Most women would be repulsed by that.
Yes.
But he's able to still attract a majority of hot girls.
Is he bisexual? Is that what he says?
Yeah, he pretty much says that he like.
But Tai, we want your opinion on this, man, real quick.
Yeah.
So
we argue that the most status-driven, I want to say, profession you can get girls is reggaeton artists.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Reggaeton, if you want Latin women,
Global.
ain't gonna fucking help you. I live in Sweden. They don't give a shit about reggaeton. But down in Miami, I'll tell you, look, I have my own, I call it my 13 thesis, my 13 hypothesis for a high status man. I'd say you're onto something. I would say that there's here's the question. Who would you fucking hide your girl from? That's the question.
Okay.
So am I hiding my girl from a reggaeton artist? There's a subset of women that don't care about. There's women that don't care, more like grimy. I'll tell you who you got to hide your girl from. Like, John Mayer. You remember John Mayer? Everybody talks about body count, but I'm like, it's not. You want me to tell you the most powerful measurement on a man? Because dudes count their body count. They're like, brah, I slept with 600 women, 200 women, whatever.
Yeah.
No. Who was the first love of the most beautiful women? That's a powerful man. John Mayer has
the biggest
women.
imprint.
He has Taylor Swift. 10 years later, she's writing angry things about that. She's in her head for decades. So John, here's the thing about John Mayer. And I don't know who would win, reggaeton artist or John Mayer. But John Mayer is, on the guitar, considered maybe the greatest living guitarist by men. So he has the status of men. He's a great singer. And he's 6'4" and good looking.
Caucasian, which most women prefer Caucasian men, statistically speaking.
Yeah, that's what I said. John Mayer. But I mean, look, I'll tell you this: about 10% of women are totally faithful monogamous. So you got to look at the subsets of women too. So some women are gonna sleep with a dude of any status. He's a fucking accountant at H&R Block. She's gonna be like, that's enough status for me. So you got to segment the population, but reggaeton might be pretty powerful. Yeah. Movie star strong, dude.
Yeah, that's strong too. But I don't know if they have the same allure that they had 20 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like
it's like influencers are starting to take over now. Unless you're A-list celeb, you're a Leo or something, that's different. Like
but okay, let me just play devil's advocate.
Yeah, please.
Men forget about the fantasy world. Like, men watch porn. They don't want fantasy. Women wear lingerie to create fantasy. Men are like, you look better without, you ain't getting that from me. Fuck lingerie, right? You watch a dude's porn. There's a great book on this. What's it called? 1,000 Little Pieces, 1,000,000 Little Pieces. It's the science. This researcher studied the data from porn. Okay, so like, dudes are looking at like fucking Just primitive shit. Okay? Now, women are out here watching porn where nobody touches each other.
Right.
They're in a fantasy world. So the men who create massive fantasies. So the reason DiCaprio is so powerful is because Titanic, a lot of women now who just turned 18 today will watch Titanic for the first time, and it gets in their head. And they can't differentiate that DiCaprio's not really a hero. Another, remember Notebook with Gosling?
Yeah,
So men, I agree with you, influencers on the rise, but a lot of influencers are very reality based. You know who, you ever seen this dude that never shows his face? Oh, fuck, what's this guy's name? He's a heavy metal dude. He doesn't show his name. Come on, somebody has to know. He shows his hands. And he speaks and he like talks on
Someone
Instagram.
in the chat's gonna say it.
Who knows this guy?
Say it for sure.
What's this dude? This is all dudes. This fucking guy crushes with women. Somebody put Diglet. No, I'll remember. Yeah, Corpse husband. Yeah. Oh, hide your girl from Corpse husband because she doesn't have to meet him and she's gonna leave you virtually in her brain. Dude. Corpse husband is a fucking genius. It might be some puny ass motherfucker guy that has a voice synthesizer. You watch it. It's 98% women watching him, and he'll get in there he'll be like, "Hello, ladies," and it's just like
Val Venus type shit.
Wow.
Oh yeah, but you never shows his face.
Yeah. A
lot of guys are too focused. I'm like on your face. I'm like, fuck your face. The one good news about being a man. You can have an ugly face. You can make up for that shit with other stuff.
Yeah.
Women, it's a little tougher.
Yeah. Like that's the good thing about men is like, yes, it's harder to attract, but you have more goes at it because you have more metrics that you can use to, amplify any weak points you might have, but I think the strongest one is absolutely status.
Yes.
But, obviously there's a bunch of ones, physicality, height, income, all these things. But
yeah, well, that's what I said. You got to go domain specific. You have to. So there's a thing. One of the most important things in evolution is FDS. So frequency dependent selection. So nature in its omnipotence, or if you're religious, you call it God, distributes. For example, there are women. There's a subset of women. I've seen them. They do not care about looks. They call themselves, sapiosexual. They're very attractive. Einstein was banging chicks.
Yeah.
Little Einstein. I knew a dude that knew Einstein, an old guy, and he said he smells horrible. But Einstein was a sapiosexual. You start dissecting. You go E equals MC squared. But the bigger question I think you're going to is who gets the largest slice of the pie?
Yeah.
Nerdy dudes don't get the largest slice.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't. But you get a slice.
Yeah.
So if you'll get a little slice of the pie, and in an 8 billion person world where 4 billion are women, a little slice can be all you ever need, keep you busy for life. So I think the men who get the largest maybe is the reggaeton, the musicians. It's the spiritual artists, I call it. Women is very powerful, a spiritual artist. So music is a non-materialistic, transcendent thing. So people who control that domain, whether it's art. I mean, I know a guy in New York. I used to collect his art. This fucking dude's ugly. I mean, his ratio of tens is ridiculous because he gets women there. He's like, I want to paint your hands and shit. And they come there. And it's like, Victoria's Secret model, blah, 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 and they're all fighting over him. If this guy worked at a car wash, I mean, he'd be a fucking involuntary incel.
Yeah.
Genes disappear off planet Earth.
If you have like a really interesting or cool skill that you can display at social gatherings, like I know, for example, Mystery, right? We spoke about him before.
Yeah.
Magician. Could you imagine going up in a club or whatever? And this is back before cell phones and everything else like that, doing magic tricks and stuff like that. Like girls like, oh my God. Like, because it's a skill that not that many people have.
Yeah. David Blaine, for example.
And it's interesting. Yeah.
Chris Angel.
Magicians kill it too. So it's like, it depends. And the other thing too, because, the black pill guys like, looks are everything. Not necessarily. There's a bunch of...
What's that called? The black pill?
Yeah, the black pill.
How many fucking colors are there? I know there's red pill. They got maroon pill. Who the fuck is this?
Basically, they said that it's, looks are everything. And it's like, look, for a lot of women, looks matter to a degree, but you'd be amazed at how you can compensate for it if you have other attributes.
It's not the end all be all.
Yeah.
Speaking of pieces of...
Pablo, by the way, let me not to interrupt you. Pablo Picasso is 5'3". Look it up. 5'3". He had like 12 women, long-term relationships. I think 2 women hung themselves or ended up in an insane asylum when he left them. Pablo Picasso was killing the game. But I'll tell you this. I've watched Pablo Picasso. There's a YouTube video before he died. Somebody had shot on film, not obviously on YouTube. the man is a magical. Don't forget charisma.
Yeah.
Like charisma is powerful, man. Charisma, money's powerful. I would say looks. I think there's a subset of women that you will not get without looks. So if I'm not the best looking guy in the world.
It's the barrier to entry for a portion.
Yeah, but leave that.
Yeah, that's
fuck
fine.
that section.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You got to have a need. It's like in business. I don't look at every business and go, I got to own everything. Just fuck that. Let other people live in that world. By the way, I would not go after that world. Why you want to play in that world? Especially if you want a mom. You want a mom, just don't let the superficial women all fuck the same subset of dudes. Really, just leave. That's the A player Tinder dude. There's a guy who's the most matched Tinder guy in the world. And I texted him, and he follows me on Insta. He's an English guy. I don't know. He gets like 14,000 matches his first day or whatever. You can Google.
What's the metrics on this guy? I'm interested for the data.
He's a tall light skinned model. He's not white.
Mixed.
He's mixed. He's light
Black
skin.
and white.
He's about your color. I'd say he's about your skin, a little darker than me, a little lighter than. Yeah, he's a tall model guy, and he takes great pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta dissect the marketplace and say the superficial women. Can I play in that space? Just like I do in business. Yeah. I drop into a section. It's like, okay, am I going to buy this business or launch this? I can't win there. You know, Jack Welch, the greatest CEO of all time, said he only would play games that he was could be number 1 or number 2. So a lot of men, what happens is men are moving into a territory. You'll never be 1 or 2. Leave that. Leave it. For whatever, the black pillars or whatever the fuck it is. You can move all around, you know, and there's a lot of pills out there.
I would argue that there's enough pie out there for everyone to eat. Maybe not every piece of the pie, but some of it. But for yourself.
Some you don't want to eat. There's some women out there you don't want.
I'm just curious. How much of the pie are you eating?
I've done all right. Hey, man, look, if you have a son, ask yourself, what advice would you give your own son? What would you wish? I wouldn't wave a wand over my son and make him a 10 looks. It becomes stupid. Men don't, by the way, this whole concept that great looking men rule the world. If you looked at the Forbes list, these are all runty motherfuckers for the most part. Elon's kind of a big dude, but so I think, you know, for me, I learned a long time ago, like charisma will do a lot for you. You know, I think I dissect the algorithm of the mind inversely. I go, what's the subset of women I'm attracted to? I have a subset, so I'm not even trying to eat at the whole table. At this point in my life, I'm like, ooh, I know the women that I like. I know what they look like. I know what they smell like. I know how they talk. I know their values. So you have to, that's where people go wrong, is like trying to be all things to all people. You ain't ever going to be all things to all people. That's what, in fact, you should optimize your life just like for a personal brand, where 20% of people not only reject you, but overtly get pissed at you. You want 20% of women going, fuck that guy, because that means you have an archetype. You have to embody something. It's like a woman looks at me now, if she likes whatever supermodel, she'll be like, fuck that guy. But the women who like smart guy, little blazer on, make some money, those women are like, fuck yeah. So you want to hypnotize this way, hypnotize what you value, and then you want to repel what you don't, because this will distract you.
Waste time.
My mentor, Joel Salatin, said the worst thing to do is to grow old and realize you got good at the wrong thing. You know what the worst thing to do is? Realize you grew old with the wrong woman because she was a pretty face. Like Charlie Munger said, ain't nothing more dangerous in this world for a high status man than a pretty face. Fucks more men. So I'm trying to repel the pretty faces that I know I won't. Every man, I've changed my thing on this. Every man, there's 2 mating strategies Dr. Buss teaches. Long-term, short-term. From the day you're born as a man, always optimize for long-term. Because when you optimize for long-term, you'll still get the fun short-term. But you might accidentally get a girl pregnant, and pregnant's forever. And you want to have kids with a good, not only a good set of genes, but good family. You got to look at family. One of the most heritable traits on earth is mental illness. You know, height is 0.78 correlation, your genes, okay? Height is around 0.78, 0.8. So 78% of who you are can be explained by your parents.
Okay.
Intelligence is about the same. And so is narcissism. And so is schizophrenia. So guys are out here not repelling. I want to repel the women who are fucked up. I want to repel them. So what can I do? Because that beautiful face, that's crazy. I've seen it almost take down every top man that starts getting that status. You start vacuum cleaning up all the beautiful women, dude. 1 out of 20 women is not only fucked up but deadly.
Yeah,
deadly.
I mean, look at the